This is where you'll find Martha Kuhlman most weekdays, Waukesha County Technical College, and that's a big achievement.
It's possible. It can happen. I've got my own place. I've got a car. I go to school. I live like a socially acceptable person, or whatever you want to call it. I feel like I'm back a part of society again.
She's even excited about paying bills. Why? Martha was kidnapped after running away from home at 14 and then spent 26 years in the sex trade.
You're not the kid that most people would expect to be in the trade.
I know.
You know, private school, violin.
I know.
Martha came from a middle-class religious family. Her mother not only insisted on the violin lessons, but there were piano and ballet lessons too. Sex trafficking victims come from all socioeconomic backgrounds and races, and many of them also have a history of neglect, trauma, violence, and sexual abuse. Martha eventually fit the mold.
The bus drivers at our school were college students, and they partied, and so I was in experimental phase and went to the bus driver's house to go party after school before we left, and I ended up getting raped by my bus driver, and things kind of went south from there.
Human traffickers look for the vulnerable, and they find them. Martha ran away from home to downtown Minneapolis looking for the high life. Instead, she ended up homeless and hungry, and then she met a man she really liked.
To have somebody care about me, quote unquote, and love me and protect me and take care of me and give me things was what I was looking for, I guess, because it's what drew me in.
Making promises to them, bringing them into an environment that's promised to be good and better, and invariably it is not.
Jim Santel, U.S. Attorney of the Eastern District of Wisconsin, knows all too well how traffickers hook their victims. He says the caseload is large. One estimate says 100,000 American children are trafficked each year, with Wisconsin considered among the top 10 states for human trafficking.
The investigators tell me on a regular basis that all roads lead back to Wisconsin, perhaps to Milwaukee, to Madison, perhaps off to Minneapolis, again, as you traffic through the state and go on to other places. It is a problem. We haven't quite figured out the reason why, but we are attacking the problem on a regular basis.
A recent FBI sex trafficking multi-agency operation spanning more than 70 cities across the country led to 150 arrests, 100 in Wisconsin, and the recovery of 105 children, 10 of which were in Wisconsin, 7 in Milwaukee. Milwaukee tied with Detroit for the second highest number of incidents in the nation.
Wisconsin is perceived, I think, as a place where perhaps you can get away with it. And the answer, of course, is you can't and you won't.
In Minneapolis, Martha's new friend wined and dined her, bought her clothes, gave her a place to stay for a week, and then forced her to work.
I got taken out of town, and I was taught to work the streets.
Martha's journey in the trade led to Dallas, Chicago, St. Louis, D.C., New York, Atlantic City, Atlanta, went to prison, and then to Los Angeles, San Diego, San Francisco. And as the innocence of the violinist slipped away, numbing drugs took its place.
There was a lot of beatings, a lot of rapes. I've been cut up 3 times. One time I almost died in someone's vehicle. I got choked.
Santel says today's trafficker looks less like the stereotypical pimp and more like a businessman or woman, and the internet has expanded the sex trade.
And so it's become much easier, literally, to sell them as human property in a way that we never could even 10, 15 years ago.
When Martha was finally able to get out of the sex trade after being in for years, she didn't know where to turn and purposely got back in. Her final exit was at 40, and she's been drug-free for almost a year, now in school and engaged to be married. Her desire is to help others get out of the sex trade, too.
Everything that helped me get to where I'm at today was given freely to me. My job is to turn around and give it to somebody else, free.
Pay it forward.
Pay it forward.
U.S. attorneys and district attorneys are not only putting a dent in the problem by prosecuting human traffickers, they're also working with agencies to try to help the victims of the trafficking. Beverly Taylor, Fox 6 News.